Hi everyone and welcome to this Tutor to You revision live stream. This evening we are revising for NCFE T-Level Health and we're looking at Core B, so that's your core science concepts and further science concepts for health. My name's Liz and I'm joined by Charlotte this evening. Hi Charlotte. Oh, can't hear you Charlotte, I'm not sure what's happening there. Let me queue up our PowerPoint and see how we're going. Okay, so we are looking at AO1 today, which is, that's it, we can hear you now, Charlotte. Knowledge and understanding of context, concepts, theories and principles in healthcare. So that's like your foundational knowledge, your underpinning knowledge of these science concepts. So I'll just talk you through some tips before we start. Okay, so questions that include marks for AO1 test your recall of appropriately selected knowledge. So most of the short answer questions on your paper will assess AO1, but there are marks for AO1 in the extended response questions too. So throughout your paper, you need to show that you can recall appropriately selected knowledge. There's a total of 118 marks available on your Core B paper, and between 25 and 30 of those marks is available or allocated to AO1. To achieve as many of these marks as possible, you do need to have a wide-ranging knowledge of the specification. So I don't need to tell you guys that there's a lot covered in your specification. You need to know as much of that as possible, preferably all of it, but I appreciate that there's a lot to recall there. To get these marks, you really need to understand the context of the question and then link your answer accurately to that context. You need to use key scientific terms and be clear and concise in your sentence structure. So remember, these are the short answer questions mainly. So you need to be able to get your point across quite quickly and concisely. If we have a look at the structure of the exam, so it's got 3 sections, A, B and C. And the exam board tells us that in section A, you could be asked about cardiovascular, respiratory, nervous and musculoskeletal system. In section B, digestive, renal, integumentary, reproductive and endocrine. And then in section C, this is synoptic. That means it draws together your knowledge, and it can assess any of the B1 and the B2 content in combination. So B1, your core science concepts, and then those body systems together. And then the core science concepts and cancer can be in any section. So they're woven in throughout all 3 sections. Okay, so this is to see that you have a depth of understanding. So, okay, you know about cells in isolation, but do you know about cells in relation to one of those diseases of the body systems or in terms of cancer? Okay, so that's enough about the exam structure. Let's get into the revision. The way this works is we'll put some activities on the screen, and if you guys at home, if you're subscribers to the channel, you can type in the chat, so you can type your answers, and we really like to get lots of students typing in their answers because it makes it more fun for everyone, and it means that I don't need to be tested on my knowledge of science. Okay, Charlotte, would you like to do the first activity for us?
Yes, can do. So, can you hear me okay now, Liz?
Yeah, we can, yep.
Yeah, brilliant. So for the first activity, I would like you to, in the chat, we'll give you 30 seconds to give me 4 organelles found within do you know, Liz, you're going to have to pronounce that one for me.
Eukaryotic. So 4 organelles found within eukaryotic cells.
That's the one.
Okay, let's start the timer.
So off you go. What are you thinking, Liz? Can you give us one?
Definitely the nucleus. I'm very sure about that one.
I think if in doubt, that would be one that you would go for straight away, wouldn't you?
Yep. I'm trying to picture an animal cell diagram in my head.
So that's our time up. We'll just give it a couple of seconds because sometimes we've got a little bit of a delay. But yeah, I would definitely say nucleus. Any other ideas, Liz?
I know that we have lysosomes in our cells, and the reason that I can remember that is because when I learnt about those, I was taught that they're like suicide bags, so they dissolve unwanted parts of the cell, degraded parts of the cell, or pathogens. So I know about that. I'm also thinking...
Shall we have a look?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Let's have a look. So, yeah, Liz, you were definitely right. Nucleus and ribosomes there. And then you could have also said mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus.
Okay. Let's have a look at the next one then.
So let's move on to the next one. You go ahead, Liz.
Yep, so all of these questions have that diagram of the animal cell that I was trying to picture in my mind, and then an arrow showing something in more detail, okay? So this arrow is pointing at something that controls the passage of substances into and out of the cell, and it's also the site of antigens. So is this A, lysosomes, B, cell surface membrane, C, rough endoplasmic reticulum, or D, centrioles? So anyone at home, if you think you know, just type the letter in the chat for us. I think this one's quite a nice, straightforward one to kick us off.
Yeah.
Do you know what this one is, Charlotte?
I do, yes. I'm hoping somebody else is going to be brave enough to answer though.
I'm not sure. They're all very quiet today.
They are. I would definitely say that it's B.
Yep.
Because your cell membrane.
Yep. Okay, next one. So this organelle is involved with the separation of chromosomes during cell division. Is it A, the nucleus, B, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, C, the cell surface membrane, or D, centrioles? So Charlotte, is there any of those that you're like I can't think of the word, that you're excluding straight away, that you're like, it's definitely not that?
It's definitely not, the cell surface membrane,
Yep, just had
because
that
from
one.
previous, yeah, and it's definitely not the nucleus.
Okay. So we're left with either smooth endoplasmic reticulum or centrioles. What do you think?
I would go with D, because I think centrioles is one of the organelles that you can identify through the image of it quite easily.
Yep, I agree. Yep, you are right. So that is a centriole, and there are multiple centrioles. Okay, next one. The primary function of this organelle is to synthesize proteins, and that picture is like a folded kind of structure that's studded with something. So is this A, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, B, lysosomes, C, Golgi apparatus, or D, mitochondria? Any thoughts about this one, Charlotte?
I don't think that it's mitochondria, because
Okay.
I know the function of that is not this one. Possibly A.
I think you could be right. Yep, the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And those studded bits on it are actually ribosomes. Okay. Ah, someone has said A. Well done. Give that person a round of applause.
Well done.
Okay. We need more joining in. So number 4, question 4. This organelle is the site of respiration producing adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. So is that A, the nucleus, B, the mitochondria, C, lysosomes, or D, centrioles? So have a think, which
Well,
ones is it not?
we'll give it a little while to see if anybody. I very almost gave the answer to this one
You
in the
did,
last.
yeah. So it's definitely not centrioles, is it? Because we've had that.
Nope.
Nucleus, I don't think it's nucleus, because I think that is the larger, like, pink structure with the yellow bit in the centre. So B or C?
I would say B, mitochondria.
I think you are correct, yep. So the mitochondria is where energy is produced, and tissues that require lots of energy, like muscle tissue, tend to have lots of mitochondria. Okay, so next we've got a 60-second challenge. So we are still on cells, and I'm going to show you
well
the
done.
screen.
Sorry to that same person's in our chat, and they've given us the correct answer for the previous one.
A round of applause. Yep, so for this activity, I'm going to show you a list of specialised cells, the ones that are on the specification, and then you have to match that cell to an overview of its structure and how that relates to its function. So remember, specialised cells are ones that have differentiated, which means they've adapted in some way to support their function. So we've got on one side A, erythrocytes, B, neurons, C, sperm cells, D, squamous epithelial cells, and E, striated muscle cells. And then we've got 5 statements on the opposite side of the screen. You need to work out which statement matches A, erythrocytes, which one matches B, neurons, and so on. So I'll let you guys read it through once I start the timer. And if you just want to type in the chat A and then the number that you think it links to. So remember, their specialised cells are the A, B, C, D, E. And then the statements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are how the structure supports the function of each of those specialised cells. So you need to match them up. So we'll give you 60 seconds for this one because there's quite a lot of reading. Off you go.
It's very serious music, Liz.
Very tense, dramatic. if you're not sure, just type any one that you know. You don't need to give us all of them. Okay, Charlotte, I hope you've been reading these. Is there one on there that you're really confident that you know matches up?
Sorry, Liz, I can't hear you very well. I think that you've just asked me, see if there's any I know.
Yep.
But I would say probably one of the easiest ones to go for straight away would be C, which matches with 2, because you've got sperm cells and then it talks about your female egg cell, and I think that one is quite straightforward.
Yep, I agree. So C, sperm cells, matches to number 2. The head of the cell contains an acrosome with enzymes to break down the female egg cell to allow penetration. It has a flagellum or a tail for propulsion. Yep, well done. Someone else in the chat, Pakisi, said the same thing. Brilliant. Let's have a round of applause. The one that I always remember is a erythrocyte. So remember, that's the technical term for red blood cells. Okay, so that links to number 4.
Yeah,
So they're
hemoglobin.
biconcave shape. So that means they're like a disc with a dimple in the middle, a bit like a donut where the hole isn't all punched all the way through. That gives greater surface area to the cell, so it can absorb more oxygen. And there's no nucleus in a red blood cell, so they can carry a large amount of hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is what binds the oxygen, so it enables the cell to carry the oxygen around. Oh, hi, Jess. I recognise that name.
Given us an answer.
Yep, well done, Jess.
B3.
B3. Okay, yep, neurons. The axon is long and thin to carry messages quickly over long distances, covered in a myelin sheath which insulates the cell. Yep, brilliant, Jess. Have a round of applause. So we haven't done squamous epithelial cells. I think that one is number 1. So single layers of flattened cells which allow for easy movement of small molecules across the membrane and through the cell. So squamous epithelial cells are line organs, don't they? And the last
striated muscle cells. Yep. Was a trick, obviously, wasn't it?
Let me just reveal those answers. So yeah, muscle cells contain filaments of protein that slide over each other to cause muscle contraction. So remember, striated means striped. So the arrangement of these filaments causes the banded appearance or striped appearance of heart muscle and skeletal muscle. Okay, brilliant. Right, another one to do. Can you crack the code? So these words on the board, on the screen, are all stages of the cell cycle, but they are in the incorrect order. So do you know the correct order? Can you type the letters out into the correct order for us? I will give you some music, I think. See what I've got. Let's have 30 seconds.
Let's hope our 2 contributors can work this one out.
Okay, so I'm sure that Jess and Pakisi are both typing, but in the meantime I will reveal the answers because I've got loads of slides to get through tonight and we're not going to make it if we go too slowly. So the first phase is interphase. Then you have prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase, which are the stages of mitosis. And then the final one is cytokinesis. So really, for your exam, you need to make sure you know the correct order of these stages, but also what happens at each stage. So one thing that you can maybe do after this live stream is go and have a look at your notes or have a look in your textbook and refamiliarise yourself with these stages and what happens at each stage. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. So now we've got some true or false, and it's all about exchange and transport mechanisms. So hopefully you guys know this topic. So the first one is the surface area must be large in comparison to the volume for efficient exchange. Is this true statement or a false statement about exchange and transport? So if you think about the alveoli in your lungs, where gas exchange is happening, do we need to have a large surface area compared to volume for efficient exchange? That one is true. So you can type true
Put
or
a T or
false.
an F.
Yep.
True or false? Come on, have a go.
So the next one, temperature does not affect the rate of exchange. Is that true or is that false? Does anyone know? Think about what you might know about how particles move.
I would go with false for this one.
Okay. Yep, you're right. Well done. So that one is false, because if you increase temperature, the particles have more kinetic energy, so they move and mix much quicker. Okay. So the next one, diffusion. So there's lots of different terms that you need to know about for exchange and transport mechanisms. So diffusion is one of them. Does diffusion refer to the overall movement of particles from areas of high concentration to areas of low concentration? In living things, does diffusion allow substances to move in and out of cells? And is it how red blood cells distribute oxygen through the body? Is this one true or false? What do we think? That one is true. Okay, so make sure you understand what that word diffusion means. Remember, at the end of the live stream, I will put the PowerPoint on the Tutor2You website, so you can download it, go through this, and make sure that you understand all these concepts, okay? So maybe this one's a bit easier. Is active transport the same as diffusion? What do you think? Charlotte's saying no.
No.
Yeah, so active transport is not the same as diffusion. So in active transport, if you think about the cell surface membrane, and it has protein channels through it. So active transport occurs when carrier proteins pick up specific molecules and take them through the membrane, and they actually go against the concentration gradient. Okay, so it's different from diffusion. So the next one, then we've got another key term, osmosis. Is this an example of active transport? True or false? Charlotte's shaking her head again. No, osmosis
I wouldn't be no good at poker, would
No.
I?
Okay, so osmosis is a passive process. It's similar to diffusion, okay? So osmosis is when water molecules diffuse from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through a selectively permeable membrane, okay? So after this, make sure you go and revise the terms diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Just be really clear in your mind about what each of those terms means, okay?
You could even write these definitions down on some flashcards.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. Okay,
Should I take over this one, Liz?
Yep, you go for this one.
So similar to what we did at the beginning, we're going to give you 30 seconds of time, and we want you to give us 4 examples of how a pathogen can enter the body through direct transmission. So ways that you can a pathogen can get into your body through direct transmission. So can we set the timer off, Liz? Even if you can give us one example. So think about how different infections can spread. This heavily links to your infection control element as well, which is in element A10, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a look then. Let's have a think then, Liz. What would you say? Have you got one?
Yes, I've got a few. So I would say definitely like direct skin to skin contact. So
Yep,
if I
sure.
had I don't know, if I had a
Well done,
vomiting bug.
Jess.
Oh yeah, Jess is saying person to
Yeah,
person. If I
well
had a
done, Jess.
vomit
Person to person contact.
Yeah, if I had a vomiting bug and I didn't wash my hands after I'd been sick and then I shook hands with someone, I could transfer that directly to them,
Yeah,
couldn't I?
well done. Jess, do you have any more answers? Shall we have a look at what we've got?
Mm-hmm.
So, examples of how a pathogen can enter the body through direct transmission. Exactly that. Skin to skin, person to person contact, sharing of needles, unprotected sexual intercourse, inhaling infected droplets. So, those are some examples of how pathogens can enter the body through direct transmission. And we're now going to look at some confusing pairs. So, do the definitions on the side relate to the keyword that we've got? So, antibody, is this a substance that is recognized by the immune system as self or non self and stimulates an immune response? Or is that a blood protein produced in response to and counteracting a specific antigen? Are we correct or incorrect there? What do you think, Liz?
I'm thinking that that might be incorrect because it says at the bottom blood protein produced in response to and counteracting a specific antigen. I don't think that would be the definition of an antigen, so I think they're the wrong way around. I
Yeah,
think.
I would agree with you there, Liz.
Okay. Oh, and I can
So
see
let's have a look.
someone said as well,
Oh, well
Pakisi said
done.
swapped
Yeah,
around. Yeah.
swapped around. Yep. So that was the definition of our antigen, and our antibody is the blood protein produced in response and counteracting a specific antigen. So our body builds up antibodies and recognizes certain infections, conditions that we can then fight off. Our body fights them off themselves. So
Okay.
we'll
Next
do
one.
using pairs again. So, what do we think with this one? Do our definitions match up or are they incorrect? Do we need to change them around? I'll give you a couple of seconds to have a read of those. And see if any of our contributors tonight can give us an answer. What are you thinking, Liz?
I think that these are the correct way around because my main reasoning is in the second one. It says the immune response associated with B lymphocytes destroying pathogens by producing antibodies against it. I think that sounds like an antibody mediated response to me. Whereas the
Yep,
top
definitely.
one says without producing antibodies, so I think that's the cell mediated response. Shall we see?
Yeah, I think you're right. Shall we see the answer?
Yay.
Yay, well done, Liz. You give yourself a round of applause.
Okay. Okay, how about this one then? Is trauma damage to the body caused by external force? Or is trauma injury that has the potential to cause disability or death? So, have we got these the right way round or are they the wrong way around? Have a read, have a think. I think these are a little bit tricky to think about how they're different. And the other thing that I find is students think about trauma mainly as being like psychological. But I'm sure that everyone at home has watched 24 Hours in A&E. It's one of my most favourite programmes. And trauma is when that red phone rings and they pick it up. That is often a trauma call, isn't it? They'll say adult male trauma and it'd be someone that's had a motorcycle accident. They have injured multiple parts of their body. Maybe they've got internal bleeding. Hopefully that will help you.
So Pakisi says, I think they swapped around, and Jess says that they're the wrong way around.
Yeah, I agree. Let's have a look. Yes,
I
well
would agree
done.
as well.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Okay, the next one then. These are epidemiological terms. So we've got incidence and prevalence, and we want to know, are those the right definitions? So occurrence of new cases of disease, injury, or other medical conditions over a specified time period. And then the other one is the proportion of a population with a disease or a particular condition at a specific point in time. Are they the right way round or not?
Again, this links up with what you will have covered in your element A about epidemiology and the prevalence of diseases. That could possibly be a hint there. How prevalent something is.
Just give Jess and Pakizia a little moment to think.
I think once you've cracked these definitions, you start using them quite often in your writing. Yes, Jess has said they're the right way around. I would agree. Well done, Jess.
Yep, definitely. So I always think incident. So has there been an incident of a disease? So has someone got a diagnosis? Have they got a new case? And prevalence, think about prevailing. That means, things that are like multiple things in existence all at the same time. So yeah. Okay, I don't know if we've got another one of these yet. I think this is the last one. So we've got mortality and morbidity. And then our definitions are occurrence of death and the state of having a disease or a medical condition. So are these the right way round or not? These are confusing again because you think about, so mortality, you think about death, don't you? But morbidity, that also makes people think about death as well, because if you say someone's morbid, they're maybe thinking about bad things all the time. So what do you think, Charlotte?
I think they're the wrong way around, Liz.
I agree.
Yeah, so mortality is definitely the occurrence of death, and morbidity is having a disease or a medical condition. One phrase that you might hear quite often, or could possibly come up in your exam, is something called a comorbidity, which means that somebody has got more than one condition, or disease, or something that that person has got a diagnosis of. So they could have lung cancer, but they could also be in renal failure, or they could also be in heart failure, and that means that person's got comorbidities.
Yep. And Jess and Pakisi both got that right, so well done.
Well done.
Okay, we'll see if we can get through just a couple more activities. So this one, 60 seconds to categorise these 8 organs based on whether they are part of the digestive system, the endocrine system, or the renal system. Okay, so this is a really straightforward recall. Do you know what the organs are of each of those body systems? So let's go.
What's that scary music again? Even if you could just do one body system, that would be great.
Okay, in the interest of time, I think I'll go straight to the reveal. If I click on the right place. Okay, so digestive system, you've got your esophagus, liver, and duodenum. Endocrine system, hypothalamus. Then Jess is saying for renal system 1, 2, and 8. So kidney, urethra, and bladder. Yep. And also Jess, the ureters. are in the renal system as well. Okay, let's quickly go on to the next one. So we've got 8, what should I call them, functions. And I want to know which of those functions, there's 4 of them, that are functions of the integumentary system. I always get confused on that one. Integumentary system, okay? So that's your skin, right? So I want to know 4 functions of the skin, and there's 4 that are not functions of the skin. So try and list for me which ones are functions of the skin. I'll give you a timer.
Even if you can give us just 1 or 2. 2, 6, 8 and 5 from Jess. Well done. Very well done.
Just wait for the dramatic climax of the music. I think Jess is spot on with that.
Yeah.
So we've got vitamin D synthesis, protection, cutaneous sensation, and excretion. So we excrete sweat, for example, through our skin. Our skin protects us. It's a physical barrier for infection. It's the site of production of vitamin D. So we take in, I suppose, sunlight, and then within our skin that synthesizes vitamin D. And then cutaneous sensation, that is being able to feel things. Itching, for example. Okay, let's quickly go on to the next one.
And well done, Pakisi, who gave us 2 correct answers.
Brilliant.
There.
Okay, so bubble quizzes. Can you guys give me 2 organs that are classified as both endocrine organs and reproductive organs? So remember, we do have our body organised into organ systems, but there is crossover between our systems. They don't work in isolation, okay? So all these questions are going to be about linked to that. So I've got on the screen pancreas, ovaries, testes, and then penis and urethra. Are these endocrine organs and reproductive organs? So 2 of them are. Do you know which 2 are?
Give us the letters if you can. Or even if you only know 1.
Okay, I'm going to reveal the answers just so we can get through. So your ovaries and the testes. So they play a role in reproduction, but also they produce hormones, okay? So they are endocrine organs as well. The next one. So 2 ways that the cardiovascular and the respiratory systems work together. So is it A, transmission of electrical impulses, B, absorption of nutrients, C, circulation of blood and oxygen around the body, or D, removal of carbon dioxide from the body? So how do these 2 work together? I think Jess's answer has just come through to us. Yeah. Yes, for the previous one. So cardiovascular and respiratory systems are really closely aligned. They work together to do some really key things. What are they? A, B, C, or D? Which 2 of those? Jess is saying C and D. Well done, Jess.
Well done. Really
Brilliant.
Good.
Okay, the next one. Can you identify 2 treatments that are suitable for both invasive breast cancer and acute myeloid leukemia? So we've got A, mastectomy, B, chemotherapy, C, talking therapy, and D, bone marrow transplant. So to answer this question, you need to know about those 2 types of cancer, but you also need to know what these treatments mean. So think about what is mastectomy, what does that involve, and then work out whether it's suitable for both breast cancer and myeloid leukemia. Do the same with chemotherapy, talking therapy, and bone marrow transplant, and then you should be able to work out your answers. What do we think?
Definitely wouldn't go with A, because I don't think that would be appropriate for that second type of cancer, would it?
I agree. What about D? Bone marrow transplant. Does that sound like it would be suitable for breast cancer?
Wouldn't be appropriate for breast cancer, so I would go with B and C.
Yep, absolutely. So mastectomy is breast surgery. The full or partial removal of the breast. Bone marrow transplant is exactly that, a transplant of bone marrow. So A is a breast cancer treatment, D is a leukemia treatment, so it's the two in the middle. Okay, let's move on.
Nearly, Jess, you got one correct, well done.
Okay, can you tell me 2 diseases from the screen where an individual's risk of developing the disease can be modified, so changed, reduced maybe through lifestyle changes? So A, rheumatoid arthritis, B, muscular dystrophy, C, coronary heart disease, and then D, COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So you need to think about what do you know about those diseases, what causes them, and then tell me which 2 can definitely your risk of getting them can definitely be changed. So Pakizia is asking about, is there a list for what types of diseases? If you look in your specification, it does tell you exactly which diseases and disorders are possible to be tested in relation to each body system. So hopefully
They
you've
should
got
all
a
be
copy of that.
in your textbook as well.
Yep.
If you have a textbook. If you ask your teacher for a specific copy of the specification, if you haven't got one, that's literally a list of everything you need to know for the exam. Just going back to this question, Liz, I think this is quite a nice question that you've given here, because I think it's quite easy to tell when you know what your lifestyle factors are and what they can then cause. It works both ways, because you can go across your different elements, A and B, because we learn a lot about lifestyle in element A, so then relate that to your element B. And Jess is correct there in saying C and D.
Yep. So, your lifestyle changes we're talking about are things like reducing alcohol intake, having a broad balanced diet, not too much saturated fat, not too much salt, having plenty of fruit and vegetables, avoiding smoking, getting plenty of exercise. And for coronary heart disease, all of those things will reduce your risk. For COPD, but one of the key things is to not be a smoker, because most cases of COPD are in smokers. Okay, well done, Jess. So I think this is the last one of the multiple choice. Can you identify 2 diseases where surgical treatment options are available? So can you have surgery for type 1 diabetes? Can you have surgery for Crohn's disease? Can you have surgery for chronic kidney disease? Can you have surgery for atopic eczema? So think about what you know about surgery, and then what you know about these diseases, and then give me 2 where you could have surgery. Not everyone does, but it's an option.
If you weren't sure about this one, then you could, by process of elimination, figure it out which ones. Because eczema, there's not any surgical treatment that I'm aware of for eczema. See if anybody wants to give us an answer. I've just excluded D for you.
Shall I reveal?
We'll reveal.
So Crohn's disease and chronic kidney disease, those are diseases where there is an option to have surgery. Might not be suitable for everyone, and not everyone may need it. Their disease might not be severe enough to need it, but those are diseases where there are surgical options. Okay, this is our last activity, and then everyone can go and enjoy the rest of their Sunday. So word smash. Yeah, well done, guys. Both of them
well
got
done.
it.
Answers came through a little bit later. Well done.
Okay, word smash, our last activity, just for a bit of fun. So we've got a picture of someone who's like biting their nails, maybe looking a bit sweating. So what does that picture mean to you? If you had to summarise it in a word, what would it be? And then you have to smash that together with the clue, a group of related things that work together as a whole. And I'll show you this one as an example. So this would be nervous system. So the picture is someone being nervous, and then the words are the definition of system, okay? So that makes nervous system. So let's see if you can get the next one. So the picture, there's a microscope, there is like a dish with, I think it's a sperm being introduced to an egg, and then the text says the process by which two gametes, which are reproductive cells having a single haploid set of chromosomes, fuse to become a zygote, which develops into a new organism. So this is something on your spec, and you learn about it alongside the reproductive system. What is the key term that I'm looking for here? Any ideas, Charlotte?
Contraception?
Not contraception, no. It's almost like the opposite of contraception. Anyone at home?
Not contraception, I meant conception.
Yeah.
It's very late on a Sunday for me.
Conception, but very similar to that. Very similar term. Shall I reveal? Everyone will go, oh yeah. This is in vitro fertilization.
Yeah.
So fertilization of the egg with a sperm outside of the body, and then it's re-implanted back into the uterus.
I didn't take into account the what's it called? It's the last thing on a Sunday, Liz.
Charlotte's brain's gone.
Microscope. I didn't take into
Yeah. Okay, so this one, we have got a red tube, let's call it, with some red cells coming out of it. And then it says continuous physical force exerted on or against something. So we need to smash these two clues together to make a new key term. What are you thinking here, Charlotte? What's the picture?
I feel like I'm on catchphrase and I'm under the spot.
It is blood pressure, this
Blood
one.
pressure.
Honestly, some people's brains just don't work with this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is our last one. Okay, so easiest one, I hope. There is a picture of an organ, and then it says a quantity, amount, or degree of something measured per unit of something else. What do we think?
See if any of our contributors can help.
Yeah, come on, students at home, let us know. What is the picture of? Everyone type that in the chat, because that's easy, hopefully. It's a muscular organ. I can see a blood supply to it. I can see the aorta. What is this called? And then
I don't know if we've got a bit of a
quantity.
delay.
Yeah, maybe. Quantity, amount, or degree of something measured per unit of something else. Right, I'm going to put you all out of your misery. As soon as I do this, all the answers will come through.
Heart rate.
This is heart rate. Okay, that is it for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. You have done a good job. Oh, well done, Pakisi.
Oh, well done, Pakisi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of a delay, don't we?
Yeah, I think we do. Okay, so we will be back next Sunday, and we will look at AO2, which is more about explaining things. So can you explain how things function? Can you explain why something happens? And we'll probably have some examples of student answers, so you guys can tell us which is a good answer, which is a bad answer, tell us why, and so on. So I will upload this PowerPoint to the Tutor2U website now. The link is in the chat, and download it, and happy revising. See you all again soon. Goodbye.
And thank you for getting involved.
Yep, brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.